correct.
It's all right because it's a YouTube, so you have to click in YouTube.
Oh, true.
And then
As
click
we
go
discovered
live.
the other day.
Yeah,
So it's like a fail safe
it is good.
for YouTube.
Somewhat.
Thank God.
All right.
I was so confused when
That was a journey. It does seem interesting why that there's so many other things that you've got to press it in YouTube too.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's not a thing for Twitch at all.
Nah, that's what I was expecting as well.
Yeah.
It's like Twitch, but with extra steps.
It is. It kind of is. You're absolutely correct.
It's because they don't have like your description page or about me page like they do on Twitch.
Yeah, that just sits there waiting.
And so they allow you to edit that sort of description for the video live stream.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I believe.
Fair.
Yeah. Oh,
Would
we're
make
recording.
sense.
I just chucked it
Just
on.
hit it.
Yeah,
Just to be safeties.
You
Do
never
we,
know.
do we need these?
I don't think so.
No.
There's just
Would
Jono's
you like
stuff.
me to-
He's just
I'll pop
left
them
on
in
the
the
table.
bucket?
That's all right. Oh, in the bucket.
Yeah, because that's where I found
It's a pot,
the...
actually.
Oh, sorry.
It was my
Pot.
brewing pot.
I'll use this as my monocle.
Oh, you look
a
very
good monocle.
sophisticated. What did it look through there? Is it?
What did it look
Like,
through?
what did it look through?
It looked, yes.
Does it look the same?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's
Oh,
just like
okay.
a little bit darker.
I mean, when I
Got
look through it like
excited.
that, it looks a bit darker, but you can't really tell unless you do the eye switching.
I did it with my phone the other day. I did the whole like
with the
passing over.
glasses?
Yeah.
How did it did it work?
Oh, I did it with this.
Oh, with that.
Yeah, to,
Have
like,
you done the thing where?
check.
Because there's a thing where you can. I've seen a video where you hold your phone over your glasses and you focus through the glasses, and then you show it to somebody else because that's what it looks like for you.
Oh, legit.
Yeah, like so you do the glasses, you use your phone to focus through the glasses, and then you take the glasses away, and that's what you would see. So that's how you can show
'cause
somebody else.
Of course.
Because
It'll-
it focuses based on the lens.
Yes, and then you
Genius.
remove the lens, and then that's how you can show somebody what you
Wow.
see if you
That's
don't,
really cool.
if you can't see very well.
Mm.
So I thought that was cool.
I
'Cause,
do.
yeah.
There is a photo of me that Ash took where we were playing with the whole glasses lens thing.
Yeah.
And he held it out and he's like, just stay there and smile. I'm like, okay. And I sat there and he took the photo. But what he actually did was he used his glasses to make my head look really small.
Oh.
So it was just this very deformed photo. And it was like, oh,
Oh.
Then
I
you
thought
just,
you were making me look pretty.
you just love it when people say, just sit there and smile. And he's like,
He's like, oh, this is not going to be good.
I don't know. I'm not I honestly am so jealous of people who are good photo. You know what? You can talk. You're a good photo person.
I don't understand
you are
why.
very
I
good
just,
at it. You're just naturally good at photos. Whereas for
Thank you.
me, every time I try and do a photo, like it usually looks like I'm sneezing. And I don't know what it is. It's my face is in a perpetual state of sneeze.
I will say this. I did actually have to practice my smile because throughout high school, I would smile with just one side. My lip was up. So I'd be like this.
Was there a reason?
No, I didn't
just
have.
happened.
That was just natural for me.
Right.
Yeah. So then I was like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore.
Use the other side.
I don't
Yeah.
want to do that.
So every time I would brush my teeth or something, or after I'd finished, and I just
You
try and
practice
smile
more.
normally,
Wow.
like a normal human.
That's fascinating.
Mm.
There you go. Well, I've never practiced my smile, so maybe that's what it is.
Give it a try.
I will
I
sneeze
have.
less, like in photos, apparently, if I try and practice my smile. How are you with smiling, Keely?
I'm not keen on
Standard?
it. Standard,
No?
yeah. Well, I mean,
I like having an audience here as well, by the way.
yeah, like hearing
Makes me on a
the
bit.
chuckle.
We do have an
A good
audience for
chuckle.
the first time. We're trying something out a
to-
bit.
Is it considered an audience or?
Audience.
Is there? I mean, I think
Is
any-
audience a
I
word?
think audience can be if it's
Yeah.
anyone.
I mean, it's
Any
your,
amount of
I
people?
think
Any amount
it
of
just,
people.
it's
Okay.
just spectating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I guess
Maybe
it's
we
just-
should
yeah.
say spectator.
We have a
rather than-
spectator today.
Spectator.
Well,
That
rather
sounds
than
more
audience.
ominous, though.
Yeah.
We, have a
We could also say we
spectator.
have a voyeur.
we don't know who
A
it is.
voyeur. We have our
We have a
podcast
voyeur today.
Podcast voyeur. Should we introduce the podcast voyeur, or should the podcast voyeur remain anonymous for each episode? Because I don't know if it's going to be the same person for each episode.
If we give away who it is, people could be looking forward to that person or despising that
True,
person.
because it could then be
Depending on how they cut the.
yeah.
Podcast.
Affect the editing.
editing. Yeah.
Yes.
Keep touching the mic.
Yeah.
Touch.
Don't touch the mic. I don't know what the voice was.
Just keep your hands.
Yeah,
Just-
that's why I sit like this.
I'll sit on my
Yeah.
Because every time I go for the tablet, that's when I knock something.
Mm.
I'm
So-
very much a lean in person.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I'm
are
always-
a handsy talker like Jono.
I am.
You both talk with your hands a lot,
I'm sorry.
whereas I don't. So.
I do.
All right. Well, we won't introduce our voyeur today.
But we will introduce ourselves.
We will after
And
I
what
do
we're
this
doing.
intro. Oh my gosh, what a
So
segue! I'm going to do the introduction. Hello and welcome to Thermaltake, the official Thermaltake Australia podcast. On today's podcast, we're going to discuss whether studio acquisitions are a good thing.
Nice.
That's going to be a very important part of the podcast. We're going to chat about whether we've got video game piracy all wrong. And lastly, we're going to pick some more cool beans, some freshly acquired new cool beans. They're cooler than before, that's for sure. Look at me
Damn.
rhyming. Oh my gosh.
She a poet.
As always, you're joined by me, your host Sarah, and today I'm joined by the following people.
Don't do this because this time I'm on the last one, and I'm pretty sure you're doing it on purpose now, and this isn't fair.
Well, because the Alex watches our content, unlike you.
Yeah,
so Alex
right. It's not gonna happen in every podcast I'm in, guys. I didn't watch the last podcast that I was in because that looks
Yeah.
like hell.
Why? What do you mean? Looks like hell.
I mean,
or
like no,
sounds
like
was
it
hell?
looks like it's gonna be just.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll get through it.
You don't reckon?
No.
What about this one? You gonna be able to get through this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think I'll be fine. I think
Yeah.
it's just
You got this.
the company
Oh,
I
okay.
was with.
At the time.
Oh,
Yeah, not us.
It's not you
We're
guys.
safe.
You guys are cool.
Yeah.
It's me,
It's
Alex.
And Keely.
Alex and Keely, everybody.
Yeah,
For
boys.
those of you who are not able to mind read, it was Alex and Keely.
Yeah,
just
or
then.
if like you guys didn't know
Yeah.
us.
Didn't recognize. It could be
Of
their
course,
first
it's
podcast.
audio as well.
Yeah, you
so
gotta-
it's like,
yeah. We do forget
dis?
that sometimes.
I do definitely forget that.
Because often we'll start like showing things with our hands or like
Mm.
doing an example, and then it's like not everyone's going to see that.
I listened to this podcast. It's like a D&D podcast.
Not this podcast,
Sorry,
sorry.
not this one. A
Yeah, of
different
course
one.
not
I
this
do
one.
listen to this one sometimes. Anyway, but they're like, they'll be talking about something, and then they'll be like, for like podcast listeners, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so they're always like, it looks like this thing, and then they have to like describe it.
Yeah.
Oh, we
It's
should
never
totally
done
do
well.
that.
Maybe we should describe it. Should we? Well, hey, there could be someone out there who has never seen this set before, or where we are, or what this looks like.
That's
Wow.
Should we describe
Mind
it?
In
blowing.
Yeah.
minute detail.
Yeah.
The shelves are exactly this big. Like,
Yeah,
How big
yeah.
are they?
I don't know how big they are actually.
I would say
I'm gonna-
2.2.
what, like
Meters
what
or
would you say across?
No,
inches?
2.2
Millimeters?
2.2 meters.
Actually,
Yards?
Up.
2. Actually, 2. I'm changing
Two.
my mind.
Okay. You're locking it in.
Locking it in,
Locking
Eddie.
it in, the 2. Yeah. Anyway.
What else?
What
do,
are we,
do we need to describe anything else?
well, I think we've got 3 shelves behind us with a soiree of random items I've gathered.
Mm.
We have
Indeed.
some tables. We have
Some jelly beans.
some jelly. The cool beans segment
cool
are
beans.
actual beans, if you don't know that already, and they eat the beans. And we have new beans.
New beans.
Which does include the black coloured jelly beans, which are, kind of licorice flavoured, so everyone doesn't... Do you guys like
Gross.
them? Are you guys both anti...
I'm definitely anti.
Oh, see, am I
Licorice
the
is
only
gross.
one who likes the licorice flavour?
I remember being a kid
Seems that way.
and having to drink Irish moss when I had a really bad cough and
Oh,
like
yes.
crying.
Yeah.
My dad was like, "You have to drink it." I was like,
I'm just
"I
throwing
don't
it out there. Irish moss does nothing. It never helped me.
It never
Ever.
helped me, but that
Never
was because I
helped
like
me.
washed it down with water so quickly that
No,
it didn't
like
have
I
time
liked
to
the
like do
taste,
anything.
and I was like, I'm just drinking this by the bottle. Like I don't actually think this is helping at all. Yeah, no, it doesn't work.
Well, there
They
you
don't
go.
work. Don't make
Take
your
that,
kids take it.
Big
It doesn't
Pharma.
work.
Wow.
It doesn't. It's garbage.
Anger.
Anyway, maybe we should talk about stuff. How are you guys? How are you guys doing? It's been a little while since we've been a few weeks since we've had you on. A few weeks since we've had you on, Alex.
I feel like
How
you
are
say
guys
that all
doing?
the time.
You
Every
know,
podcast.
it's almost
It's been
like
a little while.
In the
It's
first
almost
podcast,
like-
it's been a little while.
it's almost
since
like
that.
I've had you guys on
First podcast.
rotation.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's been a little while
so
between every
Yeah,
time we're on.
every time.
Yeah, it's
But
funny.
It's like it's
You're
It's
gonna
like
have
it's
to
planned.
alternate.
it's like it's
Like-
planned.
We'll
Well,
have to
we're gonna
alternate, like,
catch up.
It's been a minute.
We're gonna catch
It's
up.
been a micro
The people
amount of
might
time.
be wondering how you are. They're like, oh, I wonder if Keely's all right after that last podcast.
I mean, like, no.
I don't know. I don't feel like anyone really feels that way about me.
You don't reckon?
No, I just have a feeling,
You know?
Don't have any
Insert
like
sad music.
Yeah, insert a sad. I don't
play
know.
one of the
I don't know. Oh, it's not going to work.
yeah, it's not gonna work.
What's that one?
Oh, I don't know.
We pressed a button. I don't know what button it was.
It's probably crickets.
Could be, yeah.
Applause.
Yeah, no fans.
Oh,
That guy.
that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you
Sad
guys been
times.
well though? Been
Yeah,
good?
yeah,
Keeping
been
well?
good.
We had a
Yeah.
big event last week.
Oh
did.
yes.
Big stream raiser.
That was a big event.
It was a big event.
Oof.
Huge.
I feel like I'm still tired from it, and it was almost.
We went hard for
We
our
did.
first charity event.
For our
Yeah.
for the first like
Yeah.
big stream thing, we're like,
100%.
hey, why not like just
do
do
10
it
hours,
all?
A bunch of challenges,
Yeah.
bunch of
It
games.
was great.
why not?
Yeah. Well, the link is still up. I thought I'd do a little plug at the start of this. I'll
Yeah.
pop the link in this episode description. So if you want to donate to our stream raiser campaign,
Tilt the Fire campaign, yeah.
campaign, whatever that word is,
Yeah.
to help sick kids and brighten the lives of sick kids, you're more than welcome to. I'll pop it below, and go
Go click on it.
go click on it.
Donate.
Help us out. I think we wanted to hit 2,000. So
We did. That's our goal.
we hit a good goal anyway, but if we can
Yes.
get there, that would be even better.
And like, just so people know, of course, it doesn't actually go to us.
Yeah, no.
It's not like
yeah.
it goes to our account
And
and,
then
then
we
donate.
transfer- no,
like it
it's
goes straight to
straight there.
Starlight. We don't see any of that.
Yeah.
It's just like, like it just sort of says that we are the ones who raised the money
organising the
and
yeah.
did the fundraiser, but
Yeah.
nothing goes to us.
Nothing's
It goes
through
straight
us.
through, and that's why
Yeah.
people use Tiltify
Yeah,
because you have to be a charity. Like the charity registers,
yeah,
and then you
and
then
you
go
register
like,
with
I'm gonna
that charity.
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but the whole stream is up on the YouTube channel if you want to watch it back, because there's a lot of great stuff. Alex, how's your leg recovering? And you?
Oh no, it's still good. Yeah.
Still good?
Getting
Yeah,
any
no,
prickles
feeling
yet?
good. What's up?
Getting any prickles?
No, I don't think
No?
so. I don't think I would for a while. I mean, because it's not like I wax it often, right?
Well, yeah, true.
So,
yeah, waxing's a bit different than
Takes a bit
shaving.
longer.
It doesn't come back as fast.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
But that'll be a little journey.
And my wife told me to moisturize.
Yes,
Nice.
exfoliate.
Yeah, but it's weird just because I'm doing like little
Just
patches.
there's a little spot on your leg.
Yeah, just do like little patches of moisture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just awesome. So like every time I get out of the shower, moisturize.
Well,
Get that little,
like this spot in particular, my leg
I
is
see
quite
it.
moist.
I mean, like, really, you should be doing that whether you wax your leg or not. Like, you should always moisturize and take care of your skin. It's important.
Why do you need to moisturize your legs?
Because you get dry skin. Like, you can just get
No,
dryness
I
anyway.
don't.
It's just good for you.
I just embrace my dry skin. I'm just like, yeah.
I don't think that's a
slowly
thing
drying
for
out
boys.
like a
No, I think
sponge.
it's a thing for anyone. I think, like, what you should, like, what
Have you
colour
been
you-
a boy?
No.
Not
But, like,
recently.
I know a couple. Not recently. No, but, like, I don't know. People just take care of their skin. But then again, a lot of people argue that, like, I wouldn't have to moisturize now if I didn't start back then kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh,
potentially, that's true.
wow.
But it's on the same thing of, like, you know, if you drink lots of water.
What
Your
if
skin's gonna be way better.
big skincare is out here
That's
putting
true,
drying
man.
agents in the moisturizer, so we have to buy more moisturizer.
Oh, don't do that to
Oh.
me.
I actually know someone who's kind of
Big
like that. They're
conspiracy.
like, ooh, could be. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, okay, I don't have an argument for that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
just do things.
Conspiracies.
We're getting back into conspiracy. It took like, every episode you're on, Alex. We just go into conspiracies.
Yeah, it's great. I
It's
love it.
great. I don't know what
I
it
am
is.
all
Everyone
for-
loves talking about a good conspiracy.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, I do think if I ever did a conspiracy-based episode, I would definitely have you guys on because I feel like
I
you
do
guys
love a
are
good
my conspiracy people. Yeah.
All
All right. Well, let's tap into
The
our
Queen is
first
a lizard.
topic that has nothing. Wow. There's the title of this episode. Let's tap into the first topic of this episode that has nothing to do with what we were just talking about,
Absolutely.
which is our studio acquisitions. I feel like that word I have to say with like a posh step.
Acquisition.
Acquisition.
Hoity-toity.
Because like it's basically like it's a buyout, isn't it? Like it's a buyout. It's a studio buyout. But it's,
Yes.
They
no,
got
it's an
bought,
acquisition.
mate.
We have acquired the studio. Studio acquisitions. So Phil Spencer, big Microsoft Phil Spencer.
Classic Phil.
Classic Phil. He was chatting a little bit about the idea of acquisitions, and that they're actually, you know, quite a good thing. And at the moment, like, acquisitions have been a bit sort of up in the air in terms of like what people think of them, because I think a lot of the consensus is that it's kind of bad. Like, it's going to be bad. So the best example I can think of is BioWare, who made the Dragon Age and Mass Effect series, got bought out by EA. And a lot of people have said that since that happened, they have released bad games constantly. They released Mass Effect 3, which wasn't too bad, but I think it was received a bit mixed, especially the end. And then there was Dragon Age Inquisition, which a lot of people didn't like. And then we've got Mass Effect Andromeda, that was just sort of massive bomb in a way. Well, that being said, I know people who actually really liked that game. And then there was, oh my God, I'm actually forgetting what it's called. What is that game? Anthem.
Oh,
they released
yeah.
Anthem. And that game, I think, they've now closed the servers of that game, I think. Or they're shutting down, like, bomb. Support.
I remember when they were selling it for $4, like hard copies for $4.
Please take our game. Please. Someone.
It's so sad.
And so basically I think because of that happening, a lot of people are a bit about acquisitions, because in the past it hasn't always worked out that well. We're just recently reading this article where we're talking about, you know, Phil Spencer mentioned about why he thinks, you know, they're good. I mean, Microsoft's recently acquired a bunch of studios, including Bethesda, which we talked a little bit about last week. Did we? Or am I going out of my mind? Did we? Alex, what did we talk about last week on the podcast? Do you remember? I won't ask Keely, because Keely didn't listen.
Stop!
Anyway, they bought up Bethesda, and a lot of people feel mixed about that too, especially recently because they announced with Starfield that it's going to be exclusive to PC and Xbox. It won't be on PlayStation. So a lot of people are upset about that because Bethesda had prior always released on everything. So basically, Philly Boy mentioned that, you know, like, it's more of a case of, like, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because we can work together with studios that we like. We don't just pick any studios. Like, we are careful about who we pick and who we work with. And, you know, helping studios grow and giving them opportunities by, you know, if we buy them and we see potential in them, then we can help them make the games. I was just wondering what you guys' opinions on this kind of stuff is. Like, do you think a big, giant, big corpo coming in to a little indie boy and buying them, and do you think that is something that is good, or that could be potentially bad, as we've seen with a couple of these things that have been disappointing people lately?
Okay, we're looking at me. I guess I'm going first.
We believe in you, Keely. That's all we're saying.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I don't know. It's kind of, I didn't think about the negatives, and I couldn't think of the negatives until just now, hearing you talk about it. And you've got a good point. And with it, you know, they could go downhill from there. Obviously, you've got the positives of acquisition of, you know, more secure work and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, there's a lot of a buyout, you know, you sold out kind of thing. And I guess there's a lot of pressure being under a large corporation as well. Like, I'm sure your deadlines are pushed harder.
Yeah.
As well, whereas when you're indie dev, like, it's not a massive, it's potentially, I wouldn't know, but it's potentially not as big of an issue if you're not pushing as hard as you could be, I guess.
Or like, if you're only bosses yourself when you're working in your bedroom, like,
yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And of course, something that does suck from it is the exclusives.
Yeah.
Because everyone loves a good game, but when you've got a favourite series and all of a sudden they've been bought out by a company, or, you know, that goes for a platform that you don't use, there's nothing worse than being like, okay, either I give up on that game or I have to buy the console. Yeah,
and even especially right now, the fact that the consoles are so hard to buy, like, if someone's managed to grab a PS5, it's like, oh great, if I want to play Starfield, I'm going to have to either grab a PC, which, let's be honest, isn't quite easy to grab, especially at the moment, or grab an Xbox, which is also not hard to grab, like, not easy to get at the moment.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And yeah, there's cost issues and everything, and then it's just like, when I look at consoles now, like, I've thought about buying, but I've looked at them and I've just been like, there's not enough because there's so many exclusives. Neither console really feels like it has enough for me to go and be like, oh, there's plenty of games on that one, I'll get that one. it's like I might as well just stick with PC.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no real incentive for me to go either or.
Yeah. Fair.
So I bought a Switch. Like I just went for the super exclusive.
That's fair enough.
But
I mean, to be honest, it does make the most sense if there's nothing that is that appealing on either console. Switch actually makes the most sense because that's never going to come to PC. Like, there's no like chance that that's going to happen. So, whereas the Sony and the Microsoft exclusives often will make their way there.
Yeah.
You know,
eventually.
What about you, Alex?
I think it totally depends on the company that buys them out.
Yeah, for sure.
It's unfortunate that there is negatives towards it because it's really just business. And
Definitely.
Thinking about in a business way, if you were a small indie dev, you'd probably be happy to be bought out.
Yeah, of course.
Because that places value on you.
Yeah, exactly. Or like validation
Your work is
of your
worthy.
work.
Yeah.
And if I was to be in that situation, I'd be happy to sell out if I've sort of built the business in a way that I feel like it could be taken on by a big company.
Yep.
Or had that idea in mind. And if you didn't have that idea in mind, then you should be thinking more about just developing games. So like your sole focus is developing games, not on the business side of things.
Yeah.
And then you're probably happy to just develop games, whether they be bought or not, in terms of like if you're an indie developer and you're happy just to get like the, I don't know, 10, 100,000 people that buy your game, as long as you're happy with that sort of player base or that sort of smaller smaller player base, then
Smaller reach.
yeah. And in saying that, you like there's games that do go viral as well, like
Even
naturally,
without that
organically.
support.
Yeah.
Exactly.
but yeah, I think it's just a business that is done daily. It's the same with normal
With
companies.
anything, that's it.
There's negatives, positives to acquisitions, and unfortunately, when we have acquisitions that go badly and we miss out on game sequels that we might be looking forward to.
That one hit a little hard to home. What
No, I thought it was for you.
Oh, me.
For like
No,
Dragon Age, isn't it?
No, so I'm not going to miss out on Starfield, but I know some people are missing out on Starfield, which will suck. Fair.
Yeah, so it's just like, well, it totally depends on how the overarching company takes it.
Yeah.
If they're going to be allowing freedom within the company still, or if they're going to step in a bit more and take control and be more directive as to how their games are developed.
Because I don't see it as I don't really see acquisitions as being necessarily a bad thing, but I think it becomes a bad thing if the company that does the acquiring, it takes over the place that's been acquired, because at the end of the day, like, the thing that made that small company successful is what they've made. So if you're coming in and like, do this, do that, change this, it's like, don't be surprised if it horrendously backfires, because the thing that made it good is now not really there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys ever been affected by this and anything?
Not that I can think of. Like, I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, like, I've got Uncharted being one of my favourite game series, and, you can't have that on Xbox.
Yeah, true.
And stuff like that. And, I mean, I also have games that I love that are exclusive to Xbox.
Yeah.
Or I think they are. Things like, Dead or Alive, you can't get that. I don't think you can get that on PlayStation. I also don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't done enough research
to make such a claim.
So take that with a grain of salt. But I think what's also puts a negative light on acquisitions in the gaming industry is because it's a creative industry.
Yes.
And a lot of people look at it and go, oh, that's selling out.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, you're just securing yourself.
Absolutely.
In a way that you couldn't necessarily on your own.
Yeah.
And you do have the marketing budget, you've got the push, you've got all those things, you've got so much more of a platform. But it's just like whether you just let them run whatever they want, or whether you continue to be you And yeah, of course, that's where it does get prickly.
Yeah, that's it.
In the end, it's up to the owners of the smaller companies anyway, if they want to go ahead with it.
Yeah.
And if they think it's worth it, then that's on that's their thing.
Yeah.
That's their decision.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be sitting here being like, how dare you have been bought out?
Yes, we did talk about this briefly last week. So I remember Jono saying, I don't get why we always yell at Microsoft or we always yell at, EA for buying these other companies, because at the end of the day, the company took the deal. So it's kind of like...
It's clearly what was best for the company.
Yeah, so it seems weird that we're having a go at them. Like all they're doing is saying, oh, you have potential. I'm gonna grab you. And, and that's what happens all the time. If you look at Instagram... or anything of like that,
Google.
Facebook is just like, I'm gonna take all this. Google buying YouTube, like it happens all the time,
constantly.
but there's just this weird. I think, and I reckon you're right. I reckon it's because it's that creative industry that there's just this. Oh, you've lost your integrity.
Yeah.
You've sold out, and it's like it happens all the time in business. Like,
Like when a punk band's on mainstream radio, they're like, "Oh, you've sold out."
Sold
and it's like,
out.
no, I succeeded. Thank you. Like,
and I also have to put food on my table and pay rent. So
Absolutely.
sorry, I'm gonna take the big Microsoft money. Like fair enough. And you can get your game made, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, like it does suck if something was exclusive to one, and then you could no longer have it because it was now going to another. Like that's a bit lame. Yeah, but at the same time, again, they're doing what's best for them. I'm sure they wouldn't have done it if they thought their community and their player base would suffer so much. Yeah, right. That it would be detrimental to them. They wouldn't have done it. Yeah. That's one of the things that I always find funny when games fail horrendously, because the people always act like that they did it on purpose. Like with Cyberpunk, they're like, oh, they just didn't care. They were just... I'm like, yeah, I'm sure they went, ooh, let's make a really bad game and let's ruin so much money into
everyone's
it.
day. And it's like, no, I don't think that's what happened at all. I think they had to rush out a game that wasn't done because investors were being little shits about it. Yeah. And then they proceeded to sue them because they were like, well, this wasn't the game we paid for. And it's like, dude, you made them rush it out. I don't quite understand what you expected. Yeah, like... At that point, I don't know. It's fun.
People need to understand both sides, like the creative and the business side of everything.
Absolutely.
Bit more, because it's not like it doesn't take 5 days to make a video game. Yes, you have those 24-hour competitions where you can make a game and send it off, but like look at that compared to the other games that take longer. Like
absolutely not even comparable.
And the fact that people are like, no, make it faster. Yeah, it's like, do you not understand what's going on the other? Like, it's detrimental to the game. It's detrimental to the developers. Like, I wonder how many people worked on Cyberpunk and then decided, I don't want to be in this industry anymore. Yeah, and quit. Yeah, exactly. Because they probably went, I don't want to be working in these hours in these conditions because of the way the investors and the player base and stuff pushed. Yeah, it's all structured so like all over the place, and then at the end of the day, like. Everyone kind of suffers, you know? So, absolutely. Yeah. Well, what a lovely note to end that conversation on. Everyone positivity suffering. Let's move on to the next thing we're talking about. Right now. Yes, we're not suffering. We're having a great time, aren't we, Alex?
Yeah.
Alex is a developer as well, and he knows the pain.
That is true. I'm sure you do know the pain of some things.
Alex lives here.
Yeah, I just don't have to work as hard as them, I'm sure.
Of course, of course.
Different sort of developing, but
yes,
I'm sure there's still crunch times and stuff.
Yeah.
Not. I don't think it's as hard because it's.
Oh, of course not.
It's just
okay.
Just us. Well, I just develop for us here. Like, it's like if something goes wrong, someone just comes to me and says,
"Hey, this is wrong."
Yeah.
It's not like you blasted it on the internet, like,
exactly.
Alex ruined the Thermaltake website.
There's so many bugs.
20 years of my life watching the Thermaltake website, and it's been ruined by Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time there's a bug, I'm just gonna like hop on the internet and
just blast you in some random forum that no one goes to anymore. Just do it there.
MySpace.
Make a MySpace for it. All right, let's talk about another thing. We've gone into a controversial topics episode this week, because the other thing I wanted to talk about was recently the ex-Dragon Age chief Mark Darrah. So I'm linking everything together with BioWare, Dragon Age, he was talking recently about in a video about game piracy. Well, he touched upon a few other things, but this was one of the things I wanted to talk about. The idea that both pirates and publishers have a tendency to misrepresent their positions. And I thought this was really interesting. In particular, one of the passages that he says about it, where he's talking about basically that both sides of this debate are wrong. It says publishers who claim massive losses to justify their DRM efforts assume that every pirated copy of a game is lost at a full price sale. But that's just not so. And then kind of saying that, but pirates who claim their activities have no real impact on the business are equally coming from a completely ludicrous place. Games cost money to make, and while not all pirated copies of games represent lost sales, some definitely do. So, yeah, and I just kind of liked this because we haven't really talked about game piracy that much on the podcast before. But I liked that kind of interesting response to it because I've sort of heard both sides of this topic, and so I just wanted to hear what you guys thought about that little statement. If you think that's kind of bang on the money, or if you're like, nah, that's ridiculous. Like only Steam sales for me. So do you guys think that's like a bang on statement, or not quite there?
Is it DMR? What's DMR?
DRM.
DRM. What's that?
So like measures in
DMR
place.
is gone, I think.
So games will have measures in place so that you can't pirate it.
Right.
So like I'm trying to remember this, and there's some really creative ones that exist too, where like I think there
Game Dev Tycoon had a good one. Did you know about that one?
No. What is it?
Game Dev Tycoon. So in this game, obviously you're a game developer. It's one of those like
are you a tycoon?
You are a tycoon.
Ooh.
You build your tycoon empire.
Wow.
No, obviously you do that, but you know, you have things where it's like your game sucked and there's bugs and you have to go through all this stuff. But if they released a version to be pirated, that if you downloaded this version, your company would, every single time you tried to play it, it would end up going bankrupt due to piracy.
Oh my god, that's
so it's a very like,
great.
This is what you're potentially doing to us,
So
especially because
fun.
you start
I like
off
that.
as a small company, and I think you can't get big enough because of it,
Because you
so you
keep
can't really
Yeah,
keep
like
conceding.
That's
limits
great.
you to a
I
certain
love
amount
that.
of-
Yeah,
I love
Yeah.
that so much.
yeah, and there's been tons of quirky little things like that, which is good.
Yeah, I'm looking them up now because I know I read about one and I loved it so much that I was like, oh, I need to find this.
Do they allow it as like a tax deduction? If they because they claim it as a loss, right?
Right.
So doesn't that mean that they don't have to pay tax as much because it's not profit? So
Do you know?
Never really thought about that before.
Yeah, never thought about it that way.
maybe it's just how I
You
think.
stumped? Yeah.
But yeah, if they claim it as losses, right, and it's not profit, so they don't have to pay company tax unless it's profit. So that's probably why they're over exaggerating their losses,
Potentially. True.
which I think is possibly where what's his name's coming from a little bit. Is that
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know.
I can't remember what the thing was, but I did read one that was like in The Sims. Apparently, if you try and in The Sims 4, if you try and pirate The Sims 4, what will happen is that like in The Sims, if you go into the shower, it'll like pixel you, right? So if you copy it, if you use a pirated version of the game, once you go into the shower and you get out, the pixely area will remain. And then the whole screen will slowly get pixelated, apparently.
Amazing.
Like, that's so great. Like, I
That's
love
so
that.
cool.
I mean, like, you know, overall, it's like, you know, DRM just means that, like, yeah, you have to, when you buy a game with Steam, if you get a code, you have to, like, log it in and you have to put the code in. And there's all this stuff that goes on as well. So it just means that, like, it's effectively, like, validating the game. It's yours, you paid for it, cool. But yeah, this idea that like because like a lot of people who pirate games, the defense is often, well, they're not missing out. Like it's it's like $20. Like they don't care. Like they're millionaires. Like they're missing out. That's usually the defense I hear.
For piracy?
Yeah, for like why I'm not going to buy the games. Or the other one I hear a lot is like, I just wanted to try it.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it, so I'm glad I didn't buy it. That's the other one I hear a lot too.
But you can try it on Steam, right? And I think it's under 4 hours. You can
Yeah.
refund it
So the
anyway.
thing is, though, I do like that, but I also don't, because some games you do need to actually put in quite a few hours before you get it. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting situation. And then they also talk further about the idea that sometimes it's the only option. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes there's like just really old games that you can't get anymore. And so then it's like that's that grey area of like, is that okay then?
Yeah.
Like, because I can't buy it anymore.
It's
Oh no! I was agreeing with the
disagreeing.
statement.
No, you definitely agree.
I mean, he said.
Definitely agreed.
I mean, he said
we
yes.
heard it here
In
first.
the article, he says like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because he also talks about like Russia and how they pirate a lot,
Yeah.
and it's not helping their case in that, like, if you're pirating the games there, they're not going to come there because they know you're just going to pirate it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're less likely to actually have them be released in that country.
And then you're gonna have to pirate anyway. So it's just this vicious circle that no one is winning. You know.
I can't really get around piracy anymore now that I'm older and like understand the world a bit more.
Yeah.
I can't quite get around it, especially with games, because it's like that's someone's work.
Yeah,
Someone
so much
puts a lot
hard
of
work
effort
put
into
into it.
that,
Right.
You know, and like that's
agree.
really, and it's like taking an artist's painting and then using it like elsewhere without them knowing. And it's like that's like they put so much time and effort into that. Like, why can't you fork out the $20 just to
Like, just go
respect them
properly?
enough?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I think that's it. And of course there's video games and then there's like movies and TV and stuff. And I think there's a different line there.
Yeah.
Because with things like TV, obviously you've got HBO and Foxtel and stuff where they're like, oh no, you can't watch this unless you buy our $60 a month subscription service.
Yeah, and all this
kind of
extra
thing.
stuff too.
And it's like that. I can see why people would pirate those things.
Yeah.
But things like games, I just can't get around. And the people that are like, oh, I'm glad I didn't buy it because I didn't end up liking it. It's like, well, like,
yeah. It's like, well, then you didn't need to get it at all.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't need to play it at all.
like if you weren't sure whether you're going to like it, clearly you already thought you weren't going to like it. Therefore,
probably shouldn't have got the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
like if you're questioning whether you're going to like a game, just don't buy the game.
Yeah.
Maybe watch it on YouTube. 'Cause
Yeah,
I've done that.
exactly.
I've
There's so
started
many
watching things
ways.
on YouTube, like,
Yeah.
you know, your walkthroughs and stuff, playthroughs, and then being like, okay, I've watched 15 minutes and it looks like I enjoy this game. I'll go buy it. Or don't think I'm going to enjoy it, so I won't.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many other options than... Because it's not robbing them, but I think it's more about, like, respect as well, you know? Like, it's...
Respecting their work.
Yeah,
what
and
these
how
people
much
have
effort
done.
they put in.
Yeah.
Because they're not losing millions, but also they could be as well.
I think with the industries of music and movies, then there needs to be more of a subscription-based. I believe some sort of a way that people can access games much easier than they can currently. I really like the idea of subscription-based because it's like you can have access to those games as long as you can pay for it for the amount of your subscription.
Yeah.
And then just remove access. I know Origin do it, which is really
I
cool.
think Microsoft do it as well.
Yeah,
They
the
have
Game
Microsoft
Pass.
Game
Yeah.
Pass.
It's possibly harder for smaller devs, but
Yes,
I know
those who lose out.
I know that there was like someone, I think it was the developer of Spotify,
Oh, yeah.
was like, you have to make it easy enough for people to gain access to the product
Yeah.
or easier than pirating
Yeah.
before
it.
people will switch to it.
It's that convenience.
Yeah.
perhaps.
So that convenience was Spotify, where you can just basically search for a song and you can instantly
there.
listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so it is a little bit hard or tricky with games because you can't necessarily stream them
Yeah.
like you would Netflix
Yeah.
with
That's
Netflix and Disney Plus and whatever. You sort of have to have it on your own computer first. But I think still the subscription base is the way to go. It might need some sort of tweaking before it can be, I guess, fully taken on, because at the moment it still seems that most people prefer to buy a game or just like buy a single game
Yeah, that's it.
rather than getting like a group of games with a subscription.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, maybe we need to do like per, like no, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, last I heard, I'm pretty sure Microsoft actually operate Game Pass at a loss as well.
Right.
So they actually do lose a bit by doing that. But obviously they obviously do see the value in it because they'll keep going even though they're losing money on it. I mean, let's be honest, it'd be like a drop in the ocean for them. But it's still the case of like they do operate it at a loss for them.
Probably because they would group together a number of games that there would be like some really high quality games, but also some games that people might not even know about.
Yeah.
And wouldn't have many sales on anyway.
Right.
But in that subscription, they possibly get to
They try it. They don't.
experience that. Sort of.
I think the subscriptions as well, like, because at the moment you've got A or B, but I think potentially that it'd be beneficial if you had A, B, or C within the one company.
Right.
So like EA, for example, I've seen their subscription passes before, and I've been like,
Yeah.
because there's say there's 60 titles, I only really like 10 of them.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pay for the other ones.
But I think they monetize it. Like the amount that you pay for it should cover the costs of those 10 titles or like however much you pay over a year. So it's like
so you're getting extra.
You're paying
extra, yeah.
Yeah, you're paying. Well,
not paying extra.
You're getting extra.
You're getting extra than what you pay because if you were to buy those 10 titles, you're paying like, I don't know, if you're paying $50 a game, it's like $500.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. But it might work better as well if they had like, so you've got your like game categories in a way.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I really like first-person shooters, for example.
Right.
So here's a subscription
that will
Just
cater
to-
that have lots of
you.
first-person shooters and a couple of things that you might also like.
Yeah.
And then you've got your Sims life sim style, and then you've got this style. Like, is that it does make it harder, but potentially if you have less for a little bit less, test that out. That could be more beneficial.
I mean, would I be too optimistic in suggesting could they do a bundle pass where maybe you pay a little extra but you get to pick what games are in your pass or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So sure, it's more than like a standard account, but you can be more meticulous with what you want.
Yeah.
Instead of just getting whatever they offer.
And then you could just add games to that bundle pass and it just increases.
Yeah.
And then you can remove some as well.
Yeah.
You might want. Yeah. Well, I know. On the EA one, they have the Sims. They have the default Sims.
Yeah.
But if you want any of the extra games, obviously you have to buy that. And if you decide, I don't really want the rest of them, I don't really feel like I'm getting my worth, you then have to cancel your subscription, but then still buy the base game so that you can actually use your expansion packs.
Yeah. Which is
like, so I've already spent X much. Because if you buy all the expansion packs, it works out to be like $800 or something.
Ridiculous.
You buy them all at full price.
Yeah.
And
so
then
bad.
you don't have the base game anymore because
So
you
can't
didn't
run
want to
them.
pay for Battlefield and this and that. And like, I feel like it then is like there's people that it's not going to be worth it for.
Yeah, that's it.
And so if they had like a Sims version, for example, and then the others or a general and that kind of stuff, I feel like it could work for the people who aren't really into games but they're into a certain type of games, who aren't as broad.
Yeah.
Because it works great for people who are into everything. But there's definitely people in the community, the gaming world and gaming community
that just
that
want
aren't.
what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting, and I think you're absolutely correct in saying that like it needs to be more convenient. So if they can organize some kind of system that is more convenient than you just buying each game individually, 100%. Like if I think about the things I'm subscribed to, like I only watch like 4 things on them. Like I don't get my money's worth, but like it doesn't really bother me because it's more convenient than me trying to find everything to watch on its own.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is about that, like
It's
you
a
know,
convenience.
and I do think it's probably going to be the best way to stop piracy because
Exactly.
it's more convenient to just pay $10 and get all these games than to sit there and try and like I don't know use all your internet prowess to find them in legal means
And without getting 1,000,001 viruses on your computer
Yeah,
and all your credit
like,
card information stolen.
there's just so many.
Yeah.
Yes, if you can find a way to make them more convenient, I think that's definitely a huge solution.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's obviously why Microsoft thinks it's worth sticking it out because it might be kind of paving the way for it being the norm.
And hey, with all these acquisitions,
Yeah, they got access
It's
to a lot of
getting
games.
better.
Get the
like-
Bethesda pack on Origin.
exactly.
Or not Origin.
Microsoft
Game
Store.
Pass. Game
Whatever
Pass.
thing it is.
The Game Pass. The Bethesda pack for the Game
The
Pass.
Bethesda pack.
Look at
The
all
Bethesda bundle.
This is the second week in a
Ba-ba.
row we are out here giving away all the best strats
Oh,
to
good
pro
strats,
business.
Honestly, everyone should just watch our podcast.
Everyone should just watch like maybe imagine if we have like a huge influx of like business people, like investors and stuff, like watching
Starting
the
watching
podcast
this.
because they're like, oh, they know what's up. Like they've
They
got all the
actually-
good
They got the
ideas.
insights because we're in it.
We're in
We
it,
know-
bro. You need more
Exactly.
people
We're the
in the
gamers.
game.
That's
You got to be
right.
in the know to know.
Yeah.
You know?
That's That's absolutely
You know,
correct.
I know. Yeah.
That we know what you know.
But
Is-
you don't
yeah.
know
You don't
how
know
much
though.
we know.
Yeah,
And I know you know that.
and we know that.
Absolutely.
Great.
Amazing.
I think the only issue with the subscription is that there's not like a, not one subscription for a very large amount of games in terms of
Yeah,
if you want like 1 or 2 games from a subscription,
yeah,
that comes with a bundle, you have to pay for that. Then if you want another 1 or 2 games from another subscription, then you got to pay for that.
yeah,
and then if
right.
there's another 1 or 2, it adds up eventually.
Yeah.
So
And would you reckon that like people's tastes in games vary a lot more than their tastes in TV and film, or do you think they're quite similar? Because like I said, like with Netflix, for example, I watched like barely anything on there, but I don't really care. Like,
I think people's taste in games actually, I don't know, I could be wrong. I feel like it's more refined than it is for TV and stuff. Like,
okay,
because it's not like Netflix specializes in drama
yeah,
and Stan specializes in this. It's not like KO, how KO
Yeah.
does support.
yeah,
Like if there was a, here's your drama pack, here's your this pack, like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But with games, I feel like maybe there is more of a, you're more interested in the type. Obviously there's people who are into it all, but you know, I'm quite into story games, but
Yeah.
I'm not really into multiplayer first person shooters
yeah,
kind of thing, or MMOs. Like, so if they had like the MMO subscription and then the story game subscription, I'd go for that.
oh yeah,
And I'd be way more interested if it came with more of that
Mm.
than the other. And you can do them
Absolutely.
very generalized as well.
yeah, that's it.
You can keep it generalized and still make your money off it and
Yeah,
stuff, and
sure.
just interest more people.
Mm.
But yeah, I feel like with TV and movies, you can't really just pick one and be happy with it.
Yeah, no,
You know, I've got
definitely
Stan, or I don't think I have Stan anymore, but I have Netflix and I've got Amazon. And we've got the other one, and then someone else, like, you know, it's the whole thing of my family all share the subscription services. So we all,
Yeah.
secrets.
yeah,
each
Oh.
one of us will pop around. But as well, you could do that with friends with your
Yeah,
subscription accounts.
if we did like if there was
Oh,
a
yeah.
Game Pass, do you think it could be a family bundle where you can have it on
yeah.
multiple systems or things
'Cause
like that as well?
Yeah, that
Spotify's
was
doing
actually
that now as
really
well.
good.
You know,
Yeah.
Spotify's doing their like
Family
and
subscription.
duos and
That's
stuff.
been
So
doing-
it's like
they've been doing that for a while.
yeah,
Yeah, and you
Well,
have like kids bundle where it's games. You
Kids
can
games for
friendly.
kids, yeah,
yeah.
kid friendly stuff. But
Things
yeah,
like
you
that.
know, like you can make the money off that, and then you
onto
potentially
something.
everyone
Oh,
can like.
boys, we
hang
got
out,
it.
You know?
We've solved the problem of video game piracy.
Yay.
Thanks, you're
Absolutely.
welcome, everyone.
You're welcome.
That's a free one. Just need to like the video. That's the freebie.
You can take that to the bank.
That's right. All right, guys, it's time to pick some cool beans.
Cool beans.
And fresh beans this week.
Freshies.
Fresh beans. I think they look very impressive at the moment. Like I'm just throwing it out there. I think they look really cool. That was always my vision for them too. Like just
They
be
really
like
look
an
like cool
overflowing
beans,
bean jar, and I'm glad that I've achieved that now.
and they're all pretty coloured and
They
stuff.
are pretty coloured. Yes. There's lots of pinks on my side.
I've got lots of greens. There's like a
oh,
whole cluster of like
nice.
6 greens like right here.
Just together.
Just
it may
hanging.
need a little shake. I'm gonna be honest.
I think there's enough there that you won't ever need to shake it though.
Oh, maybe.
Should we
I
shake
just-
it just in case?
I just feel like all the colours have kind of clumped together because I've
Okay.
got tons of reds here and tons of pinks and tons. Anyway, who'd like to go first?
I'll go first.
All right. The suspense is killing me. All right.
Close your eyes.
Oh, sorry.
And bean.
Dunk.
Purple.
Perhaps a new
Pretty
colour.
purple.
That is a nice purple too. Yeah, we've got some new colours this time.
I shouldn't have
So,
closed it.
Thank you.
oh, now Keely's going to have to struggle.
I'll have the struggle.
If you hold it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Got to hold it.
Oh, so tough. So strong.
Much strong.
Very strong.
Okay.
Smells like licorice a little bit.
Does it? Sorry from all the
Licorice ones.
yeah. All
And it's
the
just
unfortunate
overpowering.
Hmm?
It's overpowering.
Is it?
I feel like
The-
licorice is a much
The
stronger
licorice
smell.
is strong.
Yeah,
oh
the-
yes. I thought you meant like it was overpowering your jelly bean.
Oh,
right
no.
now.
They all taste
And I
like
was sad.
licorice.
Yeah.
It's just a rainbow bag of licorice jelly beans. That would be a nightmare.
I would hate that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
someone
your
pranked
big.
me and
Oh.
it's like,
That's how
there's
we
your
prank
jelly
you.
beans.
And it's all the licorice.
It's like licorice all sorts. Looks so tasty, and then you bite into it, and it's like,
Oh, see,
this
they're
is
tasty
not.
for me. That's the thing.
No.
I get the pleasure of it being tasty. It's great.
What's my question?
It's
Yeah.
not really a question.
The article.
It's just something to share. Someone finally got this. This has been sitting here for so long, and then I moved it around, and no one kept picking it. So, so someone built. Okay, neither of you guys have played BioShock, have you?
Yes.
Oh, you played the first one.
First one.
Amazing.
I bought a graphics card to play it.
Did
Wow.
you?
Yes, my very first graphics card.
That's pretty adorable.
It's like a
That's adorable.
760 GT.
Oh my gosh, was it like this big?
It didn't have a fan on it though. It was like a
Oh.
passive cooled one, just a heat sink on it.
Oh,
It was old, like
That's so
Yeah.
amazing. All right, well, someone built a home for hamsters underwater.
oh, you just,
You've.
Oh, they did, and then I ruined it, and it looks like that.
That's amazing.
So the
Wait.
hamsters run around in there
In like a
little
fish tank.
tanks underwater. You can't really.
We'll
see it
insert a
very well.
photo
Might need
here.
I will put an actual
Yeah.
photo. No, I won't. I'll forget. Yeah. So basically, this gentleman
took the BioShock idea and
hamsterfied it.
Hamsterfied
Apparently. Oh my god, this pun says. So this person's name was Alex Bayman. And
Yeah,
Bayman
Alex.
Must be a good
chose
guy.
Bayman chose something different. He chose Hampture.
Oh God.
Thanks for that, Natalie Clayton. I appreciate
nice.
that. That's a good little joke.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, so basically, the little hamsters. So so each of the little rooms even also have plasmid dispensers and neon signs inside.
oh,
That's a little extra for your hamster.
Yeah,
so it's actually like BioShock.
yeah, like he's like themed them
Full
on
on.
the inside to actually like resemble
I can't really
like
see.
the spaces.
I'm legally blind.
He just says, one day I awoke with the inexplicable desire to build underwater hamster cities. I mean, honestly, like, fair
Wow.
enough. Like,
Came to me in
I
a
think
dream.
you should go to the doctor. Like, you should get something
She
checked
might be
out.
listening.
you know, like, Keely has dreams about, well, I have dreams about Keely making me cry. This guy has dreams about underwater hamster cities. So, here we go.
Props to him. Wow.
I mean, that's what happens. Yeah. So,
How do they get out though? But basing on that photo, you can get between the two rooms, but that's it.
Well, he says that this isn't the hamster's permanent home, and they normally live in a more traditional enclosure.
Okay.
Lame.
So obviously,
I feel like they need to have stairs that go down
I
to
feel
that.
like they probably would, or some form of.
all right. So this is happening
Retrieval.
on like he has a Patreon if you want to go support
Wow.
this person's
Dang.
hamster goals. But
Totally.
he has a stretch goal.
What's the link, please?
It says stretch goal suggests creating a hamster submersible. So like you put him in it and it goes down.
Wow.
I mean, whether that happens, who knows? But there you go.
Can't he
Just
use
make a big
stairs?
daddy suit with the
Big
hamster sign.
the hamsters, and they just like move around in this giant like robo suit.
The
That would be
drills.
great. Apparently, he also occasionally runs Twitch ham cams. So he's
Amazing.
obviously on Twitch.
Ham cams.
Ham cams
That's,
for the hamsters.
that's something else.
That's what it says.
It's literally just like an actual ham.
Ham is
That's
what
what
you
it
put on your
says.
sandwich. It's not. Why
you
would
just
you want
watch
a camera
someone's
of that?
ham sandwich, like just sitting there.
I mean, is
in
it
the
good?
fridge.
Is it
Every now
like-
and then the light turns on. You're like, ooh,
Ooh,
someone's eating
someone's
something.
having something from
Oh,
the fridge.
that's a great idea. Fridge cam.
Should we just
Fridge
do that?
cam.
Should we just
Oh.
like set up a
Office
a
office fridge
camera
cam.
in our office refrigerator and just
Heck
have
yeah.
it live stream 24/7?
I like it.
Wow.
Done. There you
Yeah.
go.
Riveting content.
Gonna be
Absolutely.
some great content. Absolutely.
It'd go viral
It'd go somewhere.
to the depths of the internet.
All right, Keely, your turn.
All right, here we go.
What would you
Me.
like to be? My favorite thing
Here you
is that like
You have to
We
eat it.
discussed
Nah,
it.
you
No,
gotta
no,
eat
no,
it.
we
You
already
gotta eat it.
discussed
Gosh,
it.
it's
No,
okay.
you gotta eat
It's
it.
okay.
Oh.
That
Can I
would-
pick
that would
another
be
one
rude.
that I
also
actually
get
get to
I
eat?
get a bean.
You can pick one that I get
I
to
never
eat.
get the beans,
Yum.
so I'm happy.
Well, eat it if you're gonna eat it, man.
What was that?
I just dropped it.
Just missed
I
her
went to
mouth.
put it in and it
No
just didn't.
stress. Don't worry about it.
I can
Happens to
see
the best of us.
I can see how boy are like trying not to laugh.
Our voyeur is having a hard time.
Uh.
I'm now concerned there's black in my teeth. Okay,
No, you're good, man.
hopefully not. Okay.
Oh wow.
Amazing. Okay, so this is interesting because since I added this to my little list, it's been updated. And that was only 2 days ago. So this
Wow.
was originally that, we mentioned last week about ads being put in VR games. But then I saw this article talking about in-game video ads, like in standard games. And I was like, oh no. But apparently it's not happening. So it's fine. We are saved.
Thank God.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that could also come back to the piracy.
it could. Yeah, anyway,
I'll
we
leave
can
that
go
there.
full circle. Like, it's
Yeah.
all linked.
Yeah.
So a new advertising. So this was the original idea, was that a new advertising platform would allow companies to include video ads in PC and console games, which is similar to those that you see in mobile games and things like that, where it'll just pop up, ad, skip, whatever. And so this was basically that they apparently, this company had already struck a deal with Hi-Res Studios, so it's going to be running in Smite, and then as well as I think EA. We're going to be taking part in this
Just like low key
Ad.
trust EA.
ad thing, but apparently that is not the case. I don't think. It says update. EA recently struck a deal related to an in-game advertising system, which is said to bring. It says so. Yeah, so it's not true. PC Gamer tells PC Gamer that they're not putting ads in console games, and they haven't made any deals to do so. Anyway, that being said. It is interesting that after speaking about VR ads last week, this popped up about ads in games similar to how they work in mobile games and how they function in actual like PC and console games. So I mean, can we put our heads together and think of a way that we could make this work?
Yes, I already thought of a way.
Oh wow! Okay,
Basically, in terms of like, do you want the ads in the game or not?
I don't know. Do we?
I think we do because it's going to stop piracy, basically.
Right. Okay.
Because ads are a way for the game developers to make money, right?
Yes.
So if you have a pirated game, then you have ads. Or if you if the company can offer a free version, it has ads, right? But if you pay for the game, then you don't get ads.
Yeah. I'm actually quite like that idea too.
Yeah, it's similar to an app, right? You can buy the paid version
And
where
you
you
won't
don't
get
have
ads.
ads.
Yeah.
But if you just want to try out the game where you have annoying ads, but the developers will still profit from it, you can offer it for free.
I think it then devalues the game
that's
though,
it.
because
That's
you
the
look at an
question.
iPhone game with ads and stuff, and you can pay $1 and get rid of it. But like, do I have to? Can I then get this game? Like, how many ads would they have to put in to make it profitable?
It's a good question.
You know, like, would you have
Depends
to
how
then
good
put
your
in?
game is.
You know, if you've got a $50 game that you've
Yeah.
now gotten for free, but there's ads, does that mean there's an ad like every minute you play
No,
just to get there?
no, it's in between. It's at the end of a game, loading
but then-
scenes, whatever.
You still have to make it then somehow profitable.
So,
So
like,
how much do people charge? Then
Yeah.
how much do you charge advertisers to put in there?
yeah, and would
And then-
advertisers would it be worth for them? Like,
Yeah, because then what, they have to now pay $30
yeah,
for what you're only going to allow to be 30 seconds at most, because you're not going to put in a 5-minute ad.
no, exactly.
That wouldn't be okay. So you've got these, there's negatives on both sides. And like, I
true.
can see how it could get rid of piracy in a way, but at the same time, like, it's only going to work with some things.
Yeah,
And especially if it's like a story-driven game or something. Imagine
Yeah.
being in the middle of a cutscene, going and pull out where you're just about to save that person,
and then
and then there's an ad.
there's an ad.
I mean, it's only going to work in some games,
Yeah,
but still, I see it as like, if you think of Facebook games, I mean, not Facebook games, Facebook ads,
yeah,
where you can create a campaign and define a certain budget,
yeah,
and that's going to reach a certain amount of people. It's going to be the same as that, right? It's where advertisers can be like, okay, I've got this budget, I want it, and then the game devs can be like, okay, that's going to give you a reach of approximately whatever.
yeah,
And now, like, yes, it's going to be annoying, but you got the game for free.
Mm.
If you want to get rid of those ads,
Just pay for the game.
pay for the game.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, like there's definitely, like it definitely makes sense in a way.
Mm.
But then as well, it then stems into, okay, how do you know? Because I can see that going in the way of, you know, the big corporations where it's all gone through Steam, for example. And then Steam's the one who takes the money and then they divvy it out to developers who are in there. Say they do it through a program, right? And then they divvy the money out. But then it means, like, who decides on what ads go where?
Yeah.
And then you go into the whole, that's why we track all your data. But then it's like, okay, now we're saying, no, don't track my data. And you're getting ads that are completely irrelevant. And then you're complaining that you're getting these dumb ads, but you don't want people to track your data. Like, it leads into other issues that people have now with ads and Facebook ads and Instagram ads. Because, of course, iPhone now, you can say, like, every time you download a new app, you update, it will be like, hey, do you want this app to track your data?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. But then, yeah, you get these issues with advertisements. And now I get strange ads and stuff like that. And because it obviously, yes, it takes all your data, but I don't think it's as nefarious as people think it is. But at the same time, I can see why they're uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, do we really want that issue then leaked into our holy game world?
Game sphere. Yeah.
It totally depends on monetization, really. And I think, I know that this is an interesting example, but Fortnite is a great example of how they were able to provide a free game
Yeah.
and monetize it well.
Yeah.
And really, it is a good monetization strategy that has allowed them to really benefit a lot, even though they provided a free game.
Yeah.
And you could just say, like, yeah, ads are going to be too detrimental to the gaming world.
Yeah.
Which is what I think has happened.
Yeah.
Where they've denied it, basically. But you do have to have a good strategy, a good monetization strategy for your games if you're giving it for free or to prevent piracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it comes back to what we were talking about before, the idea of, you know, combining the business side and the creator side and how they both need to really work together in order for something to work.
Yeah.
And that's why I think free-to-play games like Fortnite, like, you know, like Apex, like why they make such a profit by giving a game for free, because those two sides have kind of been harmoniously intertwined, and so it's made it very beneficial, because I feel like not every game could do it. You know, you can just be like, oh, this is going to be The Last of Us, we're going to have a battle pass. It just doesn't really work.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because it's also not the audience that would be interested.
That loops back to the acquisitions as well, because if you then became bought out by one of the bigger companies, and then they're like, okay, well, now we're going to offer your game for free with ads, and you don't have a say in that because you've been bought out by them, they handle the business, your game could then be soiled if that's the way you see it. If you say this needs to be all one sort of experience, that could be then detrimental to the enjoyment of your game.
Yeah.
As well. And then as well, like, I feel like that could be detrimental to the game developers in themselves, in that having an ad in between cutscenes and whatnot, where they, like, placed wherever as smartly as they could be and as least jarring as they can be, it still affects the experience. Yeah. And then those people might be like, they get pulled out and then it's not as enjoyable. You know, a movie's always much better when you watch it from start to finish with no ads. When you've got those ads in there, it's not as enjoyable. Yeah. You're not in there as much, and then therefore, like, you could then rate it differently and rate your experience differently. Yeah. And then you go through your Steam ratings or whatever it is, and then they're like, yeah, it's okay, but I didn't really get immersed in it. Yeah. But that was because there was ads.
I think that's also to do with the game, though. Like, if you have a terrible game. I mean, if you have a terrible game that's not very immersive and not very, like, story driven, it could also have the same effect without ads.
Absolutely. But if you do have an immersive game and then you've got an ad, it pulls you out.
It does.
And then it takes you a minute to get back into it.
Yeah.
And how would you guys feel if GTA 6 came out and you were going to play it, and they've made a deal where the actual, like, billboards in the game, or like
proper ads,
or the ads on the radio were actually paid for ads? Do you think that could be a way that certain games could get around that, like the
Yeah.
idea of integrating the ads into the game itself.
Absolutely. It's the same as movies and TV. You know, someone happens to be drinking a Pepsi instead
And
of a
just
Coke.
happen
Like, that's
to
the
have
reason.
the label at the
Yeah.
camera.
It's
Yeah,
true.
Just,
that
you
like
know.
they
It's
do
true.
all that stuff for a reason. It's almost exactly the same. Which
Yeah.
if it
Implanted
gets some
ads.
more
Yeah.
funding, heck yeah, well, more power to them.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't
Affect
lacking
the
films.
immersive.
Yeah.
Immersiveness.
Well, then does it cross that line of like, oh, I didn't know it was being advertised to? I feel like violated now.
You never know when you're being
good.
advertised to. That's the
You're
point.
always being advertised to.
Literally
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
is advertisement.
Yeah.
This right now, technically advertisement.
I mean, yeah, because we've got
Yeah,
our
buy our
products,
stuff, buy our stuff, buy our
products in
stuff,
the
buy our stuff, buy our
background. It's like, go buy your
If you play the-
Thermaltake product.
If you play the podcast backwards, it's actually just
don't
like
do
It's
that.
it's just Jono being like, buy our stuff for like the hour. I show you. All right. Well, I guess that's about it. Because speaking of an hour, I think we've just about hit that. So, amazing. Well, thank you
Interesting.
guys for
Wonderful.
being here, for
You're
joining
welcome.
me for this very hot take type episode where we discussed some very, very intense stuff and gave some more secrets away for companies to use without,
we should start
You're good
charging.
at that.
we need to start charging for
Yeah, we
this
should.
podcast,
Yeah.
like consultation fees. Like, come on.
There's a run an ad somewhere.
Let's run an ad. These are ad free, actually, so maybe I should chuck an ad in. I won't do that.
No.
Sponsored by Manscaped.
Yeah, no, it's not
It's not
sponsored.
sponsored by
I mean, like we would like look, Manscaped. If you want to sponsor us, you're welcome to. What other company that were talking to us?
I think it was
Ball?
Clean My Balls or
Clean
something,
My
or
Balls.
smooth my smooth balls,
Oh,
smooth my
that's
balls, something like that.
Yeah. Look,
Wow. We go for the high.
we go highbrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
They reached out to
that
us
is
for
true.
some bizarre reason.
That is true. Anyway, remember to join us on all our social medias. Join us.
Join
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Join us.
Join the cult.
One of us. It's not a cult. It's just a very tight knit community.
Yeah, where
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 you can never leave.
Yeah, you're
yeah,
never
we'll
allowed to
wear the
leave and have to
same
go through an
clothes.
interesting initiation
yeah, exactly.
that we
And-
cannot speak of.
Yeah, and if anyone tries to arrest you, here is a small pill.
You have
Do
to
what
wear a
you need.
Pikachu onesie.
Yeah, a Pikachu onesie needs to be worn at all initiation ceremonies. But yes, follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. Join our Discord, Thermaltake ANZ Community Discord. It is lit,
Oh, yeah.
fam.
It is.
Lots of things happening there.
So lit.
So lit. Watch our blog, read our blog, blog.thermaltake.com.au. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for making it all the way to the end. Remember to like the video. I think is it down here? Down there. Down over there, I think. Well, yeah, somewhere there. Like the
Whose hand is
video,
it?
subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave us a comment. Which this week's comment should be, Alex.
We love you guys.
Yep.
I'm a big fan.
All right, there you go. Write that in the comments if you reach to this point, and we will give you a heart or something. Remember to donate to our
What an
Tiltify
incentive.
Stream Razor. Is there anything else? Did I forget anything?
No, I think you're good.
I think I'm good. Oh, watch our TikToks.
Hey.
How could you
Subscribe
forget
to our
that?
YouTube.
Disappointed in you,
no.
Alex.
I forget everything.
Watch our
Where
TikToks
are we?
for great Alex content.
Alex will dab.
Alex will dab
If we get
No, I won't.
200 people
to follow
following
the
it on TikTok,
TikTok.
Alex will do a dab
dab.
on TikTok. Sucked
Alrighty.
in.
Wow. We're doing it. We're going there.
We're
I guess.
doing it. All right. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Mwah.
I love you.
Stay frosty.
Mwah.
Stay cool.
Stay cool. Yeah, that sounds better.
Catch you on the flip side.
You picked up what I was putting down, alright?
Stay frosty.
I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Remember to like the video if you did enjoy it, and drop a comment down below discussing your thoughts of the episode. And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also remember, these episodes come out a week earlier in audio-only version, so jump over to our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or SoundCloud, and you can all listen to this episode a little bit earlier. We'll see you next time.